Hey, what's up? This is the show where I review my whole Steam library. This is game 15 out of 700 something and the 6th game out of 39 that starts with the letter A. I got a review copy of Age of Darkness Final Stand. It's a survival RTS reminiscent of Layer Billions, which I have played for a grand total of 63 minutes. But I'm not completely new to the RTS genre. I used to be more or less good in StarCraft 2 once upon a time. So getting into this, I didn't look at any tutorials or campaign missions, I went straight to survival to see what I could do. There's 3 different factions. They all have different units and playstyle. I chose the vampire looking dude cause he looked the coolest. It took a while for me to understand the different resources and what they do. There's gold, food, wood, stone, metal, and people. Exactly, because people are there for you to be used as resources, just like in real life. To get more gold you need more houses require wood and food, and so on and so on. Every building requires some combinations of resources that are dependent on other resources that you go and gather throughout the game. There's also dark crystals that you get while playing. They are used for upgrading and building late game units. So when the game starts, you spawn in with your 5 or 6 units and you're left to your own devices. I started scouting around a little bit but felt pretty weak overall. In my first run I was just walking around getting a feel for the game and building random stuff. I played for an hour or 2 but in the end the run was cursed, so I just called it a day. The next day I restarted from scratch. With my acquired experience from yesterday, this already went better than before. This time around I had actually read some of the buildings and unit descriptions and I had a plan. I wanted to use the pikemen early on to run around and farm the map. They're also useful for defending since they have increased range and can stab through walls. Ballista towers would be deployed at key choke points so I could leave my base alone and expand. Getting a fast upgrade building was also part of my plan. All in all, I'd say this went pretty well. The map wasn't the best, I feel like, because I had huge open spaces to many sides of my base, so walling off was a little difficult. But I did have some close iron though, which is one of the rarer resources, so that was cool. This time around I tried paying a little bit more attention to where I was placing my buildings and what I was doing in general. I tried not to idle away too much time, so the pause button was a big help. It's a useful feature that lets you just pause and save whenever you like. In the highest difficulty, pausing is not possible as far as I know, but by that point you should know what you're doing, I guess. Anyways, I used the hell out of the pausing button. It lets you assess the situation without panic and fat fingering everything into the Baneling guy. The game has a day and night cycle. During the day everyone leaves you alone, and at night the gypsies come out begging for money. Every couple days there's a death night where a spooky red crystal breaks and a ton of monsters come swarming out. The first 2 or 3 of those were relatively tame, but near the end it gets quite crazy. Sometimes near the end of my run I felt like the game dragged a little bit. You have to wait 5 days till death night and there wasn't much happening anymore in the game. I wasn't really expanding much, I was just walking around killing things, which you could say that's on me. I should have used all the time to prepare for what was about to come, but yeah, that's a skill issue as they called it. I soon realized that you could just go and destroy the crystals yourself and speed up death night. That was a huge mistake though. I didn't know how many death nights there would be before the game ends, so at first I thought the 4th one was going to be the last. I sold a lot of stuff and didn't care anymore about playing properly, expanding, increasing food and so on. I just threw down some walls, some ballista towers and went for it. Only to find out, no, you didn't win yet, there's another one. So the 5th one must be the last one, surely, right? I went from number 4 no income to number 5 no income and built the last line of defense with what I had left. Got some walls, some towers and a healing tent nearby. During what I thought was the final death night, my hero actually died, but since I gathered a bunch of spicy crystals before, I could instantly revive him. There might even be some hidden tech where you use your best cooldown, kill off your hero and then revive him again for the reset cooldown. Regardless, when I found out that number 5 also wasn't the last event, I knew I was toast. My survival chance was as low as my motivation to face that slaughter. I'd been running on empty for the last 2 death nights, so there was no way I'd have a chance in the actual final fight. Right around that time my game crashed anyway, so that was a good point to stop playing for the day. The takeaway from that day of playing was that doing a whole run in one sitting was a lot for me, because at some point I just wanted to be done with it and rushed more than I should have. My 3rd and final adventure for now with this game was trying out one of the other factions. I went with the fiery sword guy because he also looked cool. By this time I already had an idea how the game works and I wanted to see the differences between the factions. Yes, each faction has some unique units, but they also share a lot, if not most of the units with each other. The Order faction has healers and knights for example, but most of the other stuff is just the same. This game also lets you play with friends in co-op, which I haven't done yet, but I imagine it to be pretty fun. Also, there's a campaign mode, which I haven't touched yet. I'd say this game can be quite difficult as someone that is not completely new to RTS games and still struggling to beat the medium difficulty. I can only imagine how the hardest difficulty must feel like. Also, the game ran pretty stable most of the time. Sometimes the heroes would vanish when selecting one, and there was a moment or two when the camera would play tricks on me. So what did I like about the game? I like the concept of survival RTS games. It's cool to not necessarily have a human opponent, so you can just run around focused on base building and clearing the map. It's nice to look at, the buildings and heroes look pretty cool. It's a good challenge. Even normal was borderline too difficult for me, so if you love sinking your teeth into a difficult game, this might be for you. What did I not like? Maybe the biggest point, the game kind of drags after a while still being stressful. I felt that the gameplay was kind of slow paced at times, sitting around waiting for resources or the next death knight to approach, but then also being annoyed by that one mob that has been hitting just the correct spot that the ballista doesn't reach for 10 minutes already, and on top of that, night just started and you're being swarmed at your only iron resource. It just got to me after a while. I would also wish for more unit variety. Yes, the different factions have some units unique to themselves, but it would be cooler if each unit was exclusive to that faction. Also, I guess it would be cool to have more enemy type variety. If having more stress is fun for you, you enjoy putting out fires, and you enjoy iterating over a thing again and again to gradually get better at it, then I can highly recommend this game for you. All in all, it's pretty fun, and I had a good time with it. If you liked this week's review and want to see more, be sure to like and subscribe. Good luck. Posture check.